name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and you're listening to Catachrist Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.catachrist.com. And our special guest today is deaf dealer guitarist Ross the Boss. Welcome to the show again, Ross. How you doing today?
Hey, Jason. Greetings from Queens, New York.
Oh, great. Now, before we get into the interview, I just got to let you know, Ross, yesterday I had the pleasure of interviewing a good friend of yours, David Schenkel, and he wanted me to say hi to you. And we were talking yesterday during his interview, and he's telling me what great friends you guys are, and you know what mutual respect he has for you, and vice versa.
Oh yeah, good guy.
Yeah, good guy. Now we're talking today about the new Deaf Dealer album coming out on November 13th, Friday the 13th, and I know it's being released on Sean's Steel Cartel Records. And what I really dig about that label, him and I were discussing when I interviewed him last week, he was saying, you know, the label there is really behind physical product, which I did because I'm old school, and all too often everything's just being released digitally. So I think that's cool that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, I mean, we are, as a matter of fact, on Conquered Lands, we are only releasing 3 songs to the digital platforms.
Oh, interesting. That's a new concept. Wow.
Anybody out, if you want the record, you're going to have to go old school. Take out your credit card or your PayPal or whatever and buy it.
And really, really support the band.
That's right. How you can support us.
And I understand that Sean was telling me that you guys are like, you've already pretty much got this album done and the next one. That's cool. So you guys have been going at a real fast pace, huh?
Well, listen to this. Not only do we have 4 done.
Wow.
I mean, I have some work to do on 4, wow. But the basis of 5 is already done too.
Wow, amazing.
Right. So I mean, Stu and Sean are the main songwriters in Deaf Dealer. You know, and I'm the songwriter on my band. But we have a ton of songs, and we're ready to release Deaf Dealer 4. So
amazing! Wow.
That's going to follow right after 3.
Yeah.
So you know, they took very good. They took the time off in a very
positive way. Yeah.
You know.
Wow. That's amazing. And now Sean was sharing me. We were talking about the formation of Deaf Dealer a few years back, and he was telling me that when he said, I of course had known of Ross the Boss and I've heard about him, but I didn't know that much about him until you guys started working together. I was curious, were you at all familiar with Sean Peck or who he was before you guys put Deaf Dealer together?
I would constantly be hearing about this band Cage.
Yeah.
And I knew that everyone said, I sing, and this guy, he's a tremendous. Besides that, he's a personality. Yeah. You would really like this guy. Yeah. And I heard some stories about him. He punched out.
Yeah. Wow, amazing. Yeah.
He doesn't take shit from anybody. And so Stu, he was partnered with Stu Marshall from Sydney, Australia, and those are the 2 that originally approached me about joining the band. They go, we got this idea for a band, and it's either you or KK Downing is going to play guitar.
Wow. Can you imagine that?
Yeah. So I go, well, I know that KK is retired.
Yeah.
Because I just played with him. RTB band just played with KK, as a matter of fact, at last year at Bloodstock. But so it's you on guitar, Stu Marshall on guitar. We had Mike Davis on bass, Rhino on drums, the original band, and Sean Peck.
Oh, wow. And now, were you aware of Stu Marshall when you first hooked up with these guys, or had you learned about him? Yeah, he's kind of a well-kept secret. A lot of people are just kind of learning about this guy.
Dungeon. What an incredible guitar player. He's a really incredible guitar player. But Stu knew about me because he says hail to England.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, I was his idol.
Wow.
Growing up, absolute idol. He goes, for me to work with my idol, for me to be in the same band with my idol, it's the biggest thrill in the world. I let him play all the original guitars, and he's just like, oh my God. And then, the whole thing really fell together, Yeah. But thing about that people should know is that the first time we went out to play, we had this thing called the Metal All Stars.
Oh yes.
You remember that?
Yeah.
I was in the Metal All Stars. I was part of the troupe. Joey Belladonna, Zach Wilde, Cobra Page, a lot of Metal All Stars.
Okay.
Caballera. So we went. There was the Metal All Stars of all Eastern Europe, and these were big arenas, big fucking places.
Yeah.
And Death Dealer had never played together.
And was that before Valve? I imagine that's before Valve even came out. You guys were just kind of playing live for the first time, right?
Right. And we never had played together. Wow. And we were going to, and Sean got us opening slot on the Metal All Stars tour.
Amazing.
So,
yeah. Wow.
I was going to open up for myself.
Yeah. Sean, he's one of those guys. He's a great idea, man. I mean, even the other band he's got with Tim Owens, the Three Trimmers.
Yep.
That was from an idea that other people had like 30 years ago, and they never did anything with it.
Yep.
I just dig the fact that he was able to turn that into a reality. Yeah. Pretty amazing, And getting back to Stu Marshall, I was curious. How do you and him go about? I mean, you both are amazing guitar players. You both can, shred, pretty good in your own right. So how do you guys go about splitting up the solos and who plays what?
Well, I would say to you, the only thing that matters is the song.
Yeah, true.
The guitars relate to the song, what it takes to make the song better, and that's how I've done my whole career, and that's my ethic. So whatever it takes, if I need a part like a sweeping shred part that only Stu can do, well, Stu does it.
Great.
And there are the parts that I have to do, like the ballads, the slow parts. To be able to fill up spaces.
Yeah.
He goes, fills up space like Russ. He goes, and you play slow, and you can play slow and fill up the songs. It's like the guy from Pink Floyd. Well, what's his name?
David Gilmour. Yeah.
He goes, he just knows how to place these notes, and that's what you do. I mean, that's you, And so whatever it takes, whatever the song calls for, that's what we give them.
That's amazing with, in a band like that where you have so many talented people that it doesn't seem to be really any egos. Everybody just kind of gets along and you do your part, as you say, and it all comes together.
Sometimes I play rhythm. I mean, I don't, because I'm the member of my own band.
Yeah.
Dictators, and I just don't, whatever it takes for the song, great. That's what we do.
Oh, that's cool. Now, I think people need to know, too, that the members of Death Dealer don't live like right down the street from each other. I mean, especially like you say, Stu Marshall lives on, Australia, and I know you're in New York, and Sean's down here in LA. So a lot of times you guys kind of.
I'd like to talk about our new bass player.
Sure.
Land. His name is Mike LaPond.
Okay.
And Mike LaPond is perhaps one of the best bass players in the world. I say he's in the top 5 bass players. He's also in the Ross the Boss band, and he's also in Symphony X.
Oh wow!
Mike is unbelievable, and he's brought his amazing talent to Conquered Lands. It's going to be great live.
Well, and now with COVID-19, of course, people aren't able to go out and play live right now. But do you think whatever chance do you think of you guys playing live before the next album comes out?
I don't think we're going to play live for the next record album.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but like you said, you got all this creativity, and at least you guys were able to create all this great music, for the fans. And I got to hand it to you guys, because there are bands and musicians who have held off releasing albums this year because of what's going on with the lockdown and all that. And I dig the fact that you guys are continuing to, at the very least, create new music and give it to your fans and get it out there,
Absolutely. Well, my record, the Ross the Boss record, Born of Fire, came out March 4th.
Right before, all this stuff.
We're just smack dab in the shitstorm. So we're going to be on tour next year, and we're treating Born of Fire as a new record. Oh
well, yeah, as it should be, because it's a very, very good album. But like you said, because of what's going on, a lot of people probably missed it. The fact that it was even out.
Yep. So it's just getting rave reviews, and more people are hearing it. Just love it. Yeah. So we're going to treat that as a new record, and we're going to have Death Dealer, Conquered Lands, and I'm going to have my other band, The Dictators, putting stuff out, and So it's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming out when bands start playing again.
I got to ask, who's in the Dictators with you these days?
It's the original band we decided to reform.
Oh.
Me, Andy Sternoff, Scott Kempner was top 10, and our new Mr. Manitoba is not in the band.
Okay.
And it's our new drummer, our secret weapon, is Mr. Albert Bouchard from Blue Oyster Cult, one of the original members.
Oh, well, and speaking of the Dictators, have you had any contact over the last several years with Mark Mendoza?
Yes.
And how's he doing?
He's doing fine. He's a great guy, one of the best, one of the great bass players. He was amazing in Twisted Sister, and
yeah. Enjoying retirement. Yeah. Another guy enjoying retirement. But I was curious, any chance that he might come out and make any appearances with you guys, or?
There's always that chance. You never know.
You never know. So that's.
We love Mark. We do.
Yeah, and we were talking about how you guys recorded the album. The fact that everybody does not live right down the street, especially with Stu in Australia. So what's that process like as far as when you guys are recording? I mean, I imagine you record your parts separate and you piece it all together. Is that how you guys did it?
Yeah. Well, what happens is Stu comes up with a song. Sean, they have songwriting sessions. Sean starts riffing with his voice.
Okay.
Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I got this idea. Then once the foundation of the song is gotten and it's ready, they ship it out to me, and I'll either do some rhythm on it and then lead, and then we start working on the leads. I do a lead. Stu goes, I got to do my lead over again, and then he does it. Then I go, I got to do mine over again, and so the album is brought up to speed, and Mike has already done his bass parts on it, and then once Stu will add a digital drums to the song, and then he sends it to Steve Bolognese, and Steve will record his drums on it.
Now, that's interesting. Now, of course, Death Dealer has enough of your own original material, I know, but have you guys ever, I was just curious, ever when you're on stage, maybe done a Manowar or Rasa Boss or a Cage song thrown into a set?
We Hail and Kill by Manowar. We do an amazing version.
Oh, wow. And what was that like, doing it with these guys?
We played it live, too.
Now that's amazing. And what amazed me about Sean Peck as a vocalist, okay, he's got Death Dealer, he's got Cage, he's got the Three Trimmers, and all three projects really stand out on their own, where if you put on a Cage album, it sounds nothing like Death Dealer except for the fact that he's singing. All three bands have their own identity, which I think is, for any musician, a really hard thing to accomplish, but especially a singer, and I just think that's amazing that he's been able to do that,
Absolutely.
And
here's a little. We have so much. During the lockdown, we have Death Dealer 4 all ready to go.
Yeah, that's what you said. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, and now also I know, Ross, what a huge baseball fan you've told me before you are. I was curious, with all this lockdown stuff going on, what do you think of the way they're started, letting the baseball kind of start to be played again, but not with the fans in the stadium, and they have those cardboard cutouts. What do you think of all that?
I think they should. They could have really put half the stadium in there in a safe way. I mean, I'm missing people at these games.
Yeah, and let's be honest. I think it's just another way they figured out. Oh, we'll charge somebody $400 to have a paper cutout of themselves in the stand. It's just another way, I think, for them to make a buck. Yeah,
I'd like to see more people there, but I think we're heading to that soon. So I don't know.
And you live in New York, you said. So what's it like? Because must be, I don't know if it's anything like what you see on TV, but I've been hearing, for example, in New York especially, I mean, it's nothing like it used to be. Everything's just shut down, and it's almost like a ghost town.
Well, New York is suffering from a crime wave, a terrible crime wave.
Yeah.
A lot of people, like 420,000, 450,000 of the richest people have left the city. So they've lost the tax base.
Yeah.
New York, and the governor, the idiot governor, is begging people to come back.
Yeah. I heard that idiot's threatening to tax people for leaving. I'm like, I don't know how you can do that, but okay.
Yeah. Same thing in California.
Yeah.
People are fleeing.
Yeah.
They're fleeing. All the major cities, they're fleeing because of the crime and the looting and the arson and and just the people. People don't want to bring up children in that environment. Get out of here.
It's sad. It's almost, I dare say, turned into a third world. I mean, I never thought you'd see a day where people would just, go on TV and tell other people to steal, and yeah, hey, they got insurance, let's go do it. I see,
what? That shit's gonna end soon enough.
yeah, it's got to. Yeah.
We cannot tolerate disrespect and crime and arson and looting and come on.
Yeah, and it's really pathetic, when you see people being interrupted, like they're having dinner outside, on a patio or something at a restaurant where they are able to go and eat, having their dinner disturbed just for somebody else's political view or whatever the case may be, Yeah. Yeah.
Someone came up and did that to me. I'd shove a plate down their mouth.
Yeah, I bet they wouldn't do it again. But the point of all that brings me to my next point, which is why people do in times like this, we do need to be entertained, and if you can't go see a concert, at least you can go and get the new Death Dealer album and check that out, and
exactly, and then you're gonna love it. So that's, folks, want to support the music and get our actual products. We have pre-order pack. It's loaded with stuff, shirts, patches, signed stuff. Our vinyl is selling very quickly. I just recommend it. It will really help, and you're going to love the packaging.
And how amazed are you, Ross, it's been the last couple of years, I know, but vinyl's starting to make a comeback. I mean, how amazed are you at that?
It's not starting. It has.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah.
People want vinyl. People want the vinyl, and it looks amazing because you have the whole artwork on a bigger thing, on a record.
Yeah.
And so it's beautiful. I love vinyl.
I mean, and the funny thing about that is, even in Los Angeles where I live, there really aren't any music stores where you can go to. Like, I have to buy most of my music online. I get a lot of stuff off Amazon or through the bands, and that's an experience that kind of went away. But I'm glad to see the vinyl at least kind of making a comeback, like you said, over the last several years it has been. And the amazing thing is, I talk to people and they tell me, you know what, I don't even have a turntable, but I'm going to start, I'm getting everything that comes out on vinyl just to say I have it, just for the collector's value, It's amazing.
Vinyl is better to sign than CDs.
Oh yeah, I mean that's totally old school, and I think it's great that you guys are, kind of going that old school route, keeping it alive, Yeah, and let me ask you, Ross, I was curious, have you ever had any, like a signature guitar or anything?
Yes. I have my guitar, this company in Romania, Grossman Guitar, and I have the Roster Boss model.
Yeah.
And you can see it if you look at my Facebook pages and all my other stuff. You can see me playing it.
Okay.
That's the guitar. I mean, really unbelievable.
Yeah, and you've been doing this long enough that you're where I want to talk about when I say, there's a time back in the day, guitar players like you, they used to put out like instructional videos. That's kind of gone away. Because you can go on YouTube now and find all kinds of instructional videos. But did you ever do one of those, or what do you think about doing something like that now?
I'm not big on that stuff. I mean, I'm a basic blues guitar player, rock and roll. If you want to learn how to, play like me, you gotta first listen to B.B. King, Muddy Waters, Freddie King, Lightning Hopkins, Paul Butterfield Blues Band, Cream, stuff like that.
That's amazing, because I mean, most people think of Ross the Boss as like, a shredder metal type guitar player, but I am aware, like even David Schenkel, I was telling you, I interviewed yesterday, and he was telling me very much the same. He says, before I even got into the rock thing, I went actually to the university. In his case, he's telling me I studied classical music, and I'm finding out more and more like metal guys or rock guys, they study like blues or jazz or classical music, and it's kind of interesting.
It's a matter of having a foundation for your music. I mean, when you're studying the alphabet, you don't plunge in on it.
Yeah,
right?
Otherwise, you become like a one-trick pony. Yeah. Yeah. So that's amazing. So, what was the point, like in your career, where you decide, okay, like being influenced by the blues, but I'm going to go kind of in the metal or the shred kind of direction, because that's what you're known for.
Yeah, excellent question. I would say that if you look at English blues,
yeah,
the way, right, every band back in the '60s, like Fleetwood Mac, Cowboy Brown, and Cream, and the Yardbirds, and Rod Stewart, well, they all had to make the guitar players, but they were blues guitar players. If you couldn't play blues, you were a fucking piece of worthless shit.
Yeah,
You really. Okay, so I started out like that. I started out Jimi Hendrix, Santana. You know, I started out Fleetwood Mac. Peter Green. I started out in that template. I cut my bones on all that music. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you really realize it, Black Sabbath started out as a blues band called Earth.
Yeah.
So those guys were blues. Iommi was a blues fanatic. He had to be.
And people may not even realize the only reason I think Iommi really plays the way he does is because I'm sure you've heard how he had that injury to his hand and the tips of his fingers got cut off, and that's why he plays that way.
Yeah, he's amazing, and the way his guitars are set up and tuned. But if you ask him, he's basically a blues guitar player. That's how everyone started off.
Yeah, I mean, I even heard as far as Tony Iommi, pre-Black Sabbath, he also was briefly a member of Jethro Tull. Just think about that for a minute, Yeah.
Tony told me that Jethro Tull Ian Anderson used to fine people for being late for rehearsal.
Oh, wow. Amazing. And now, Ross, being that you're such a guy that's influenced by blues, have you ever thought about the idea of like releasing like a blues type album just to kind of say I can do this?
Big work done.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. I can't wait.
Guess who else is making a blues record?
Who?
Rob Halford.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, and I can kind of see him doing that, but I think it's gonna be one of those things that really shock the Priest fans. But I do.
And I want to play on it.
Hey, let's put that out there. See if you can talk to his people, huh? Yeah.
I would love. Yeah, I want to play on it.
Yeah, and how big of a Priest fan are you? I was curious because you were talking a little bit about KK Downing, and I was kind of curious. What do you think of the guy that replaced him, or Richie Faulkner? Have you or where?
Oh, he's a great. Richie's great, but I'm an originalist.
Of course, yeah.
Playing KK played with the RTB band. It was the first show he had played since he left Priest. It was like the first show in like 10 years. So it was amazing. It was an honor to do it.
Had you known him before? Or you just kind of reached out to him and see if he would do it?
Yeah, we had a mutual friend, and it just came to be.
Oh wow, that's quite an honor. The first time since leaving Priest that he stepped up on stage with anybody. That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. And now I know the Death Dealer single right now is Sorcerer Supreme. Talk a little bit about that song and why you guys decide to release that as the first single.
Well, I think it's the way it sounds. I just think the way the song mounts, the whole song builds. I think it just meant for it to be our first release.
Oh, amazing! Yeah. Now, of course, people know Ross the Boss from the Ross the Boss Band and Man of War and Death Dealer. Now, I was curious. If given the choice, I mean, do you enjoy being more part of a band unit or more of like a solo act? Which do you prefer if you had a choice?
It doesn't matter, just as long as the songs are great. I don't care. As long as I enjoy working with the people I'm in band with. So that's the only way I play now. I have to like the people I play with. That
makes sense, yeah. I mean,
life is short.
Because life is short, so like you said, you want to enjoy what you're doing and make it last. And I gotta say, that's the other thing I've been pretty amazed about Death Dealers. You guys are not only a great band and you get along and are best friends and all, but Death Dealer, you guys don't have a really long career, but in the amount of time Death Dealer has been a band and you've been together, look at what you've created. Look at the quality of music and everything, and look at this is like the third album, right, Ross?
Yeah.
And you guys, so look at what you've accomplished in just 3 albums, and you've already got, like you said, the 4th one on the way.
Yeah, and the first tour was in arenas, and that's why we knew we were great, because people never heard us before, and we went on stage and blew the place apart.
Yeah, and it's just amazing because each Death Dealer album, I gotta say, there is a progression in that. A lot of times when bands, start and they put out new music, it doesn't necessarily get better each time. But you guys are on a progression. I just think you're only going up, so that's great.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
And you talk a little bit about KK Downing throughout the interview. When I talked to Sean, he was also telling me because he worked with Tim Owens and Three Trimmers. He said Tim and KK got I guess they got this new band, KK's Priest. So I'd be interested to hear what that sounds like. I hear that'd be coming out soon too.
I'm sure it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, especially being the first thing KK's been put out in a number of years.
Exactly. It should be song heavy.
Yeah. And are you at all interested in checking out Rob Halford's book that just came out this week?
I'm going to get it. Yeah.
And how big of a fan are you of like people putting out books? And I was curious. You had a pretty lengthy career of yourself. Have you ever given any thought to doing a Ross the Boss book?
I'm thinking about it and I'm mulling it. And everyone that I talk to say, Ross, you've been playing since 1975. You have 40 records, 45. I mean, I'm on more people's records, more guest tracks, more this, that. There's more history. You would make a great book. I mean, I said, I even have people lining up to be ghostwriters. So,
that's amazing, and you don't seem to have been the type of guy to make too many enemies over years. But I bet you'd have a good book, and like you said, I didn't even realize it'd been 40 years, worth of stuff. But man, you got staying power. You've lasted 40 years. You're doing something right.
Well, you know what? I think it's due to the fact that I work every day. I never stop. I don't take time off. I don't. I have my own business here. I have my own sports facility. I'm here. I work every single day. I do not take a day off. I do interviews. I mean, I write music. I do music. I have output. I have, lots of stuff coming out, and we do it. And,
I think we talked about. Yeah, I think we talked about it the last time. But remind me again. What's the sports? Is that like you own a batting cage or something, right? Yeah,
I'm here right now. It's called the Cage Baseball. We're in Middle Village, Queens. It's 10,000 square feet. And we've been here for 16 years, and we aid the community. Our inner city kids. We have our own baseball league. I have right now. I currently have 12 teams, and we're called Cage Warriors.
Oh, cool! Now, I was curious. Yeah.
They're called the Cage Warriors, and the different age levels from 6 to 18.
Has your business there at all been affected, or have you been allowed to stay open and do your thing?
Well, we were affected. We were closed for 3.5 months by the moron governor and mayor.
Wow.
And,
yeah.
But I lost a lot of money. I lost 3.5 months in peak season. And luckily we have 120 kids in our program, and we're making ends meet and doing what we have to do.
And it's great that you're in a position in life where you can continue to do your music and you can have a business like that, because I imagine you started that out of your love for baseball, and at the same time you're able to reach out to kids in the community and give them a place to go and play. That's great.
That's right. My son actually, we did it for my son Jesse.
Wow.
He's 28 now, but he was coming up. He was an incredible player, and he made college. He was switch hitting college All-American.
Oh.
Switch hitting. Which about college All-Americans, and not everyone gets to be a college All-American, and Jesse was.
Oh, that's amazing! Yeah.
And he chose to just teach and coach our kids. So he's our head coach here. So
that's great. I mean, he could have gone on to actually
he could have had definitely a minor league career.
But see, definitely. Yeah, he's using his wisdom to help other people that are interested, have that interest. So I bet you're a proud dad. That's got to be great.
Played in the pros. I mean, he's that good.
Wow.
Catch a very strong, incredible pop time at second base.
I was curious, with your love of baseball and music and everything, and your celebrity status. You ever had the opportunity to attend a game or throw a pitch out or anything like that, or meet any?
No, I did. I know Mike Piazza. He's incredible, metal man.
Oh wow.
I get a lot of people coming in here, so it's just an honor to be here, an honor to have a sound business, even in New York City.
Oh yeah, and like you said, you've had the chance to encounter many people at your center there. Have you ever found out in doing this that a lot of people that know you from the music world are also baseball fans?
A ton of people.
Yeah. That's what I tend to find out, that a lot of people are also into sports and music and everything.
Americans.
Yeah. That's what it's all about, Ross. So I want to thank you, Ross, for taking time talking to me. It's been a lot of fun. Keep in touch, and we'll do this again. Thank you, sir.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Kids, remember, fans, support the band. Buy New Death Dealer, Conquered Lands, November.
And support Ross the Boss. Bye bye.
You got it.
Take care.